All right, folks, welcome back. This is another weekly review. All right, so we have this every weekend, the weekly review, the Forex markets review, and the forecast. Right, what we do is that we look at what price did the preceding week, right, and then we try to use the what is given by the financial markets to analyze what we should expect in the recent week. All right, so as usual, I trade the USD pairs. This is a YouTube community. I may not be so chance to be posting often, right? So if you want to get often updates, right, from me, regular updates, just join the Telegram community, right? So I cannot be posting on YouTube like 2-3 times a day. I cannot keep up with that, right? So I use Telegram as an avenue of quickly reaching out to the mentorship community, all right? And it's free of charge. Nobody's charging you. Just join with the link in the description, all right? So we can have it from there, all right? So let's in the last video, so you might want to watch the last video to get the hang of what I'm about to talk about now. I talked about how I was expecting the dollar index to still be bullish, right? I talked about the monthly time frame, so you need to watch it. I was saying that on the monthly time frame, Fox, look what I was talking about, we still have some imbalance to be filled to the upside, right? So we still have an imbalance right from here up to here, right? So I was talking about this imbalance. The price might still trade higher, so we should not be so conclusive about a buy, right? So and we took out a major high, so price may not necessarily come back, right? So price has been filling gaps sufficiently and all of that, right? So I talked about the daily time frame. Like this was a weekly, right? This is what the weekly, right? So I was talking about the weekly time frame. I was looking at this. I think this was not here. Just added it recently, right? So I was looking at this IPA, this imbalance on the weekly, right? From here to here, looking at that, market may likely trade into that and then go higher, right? So especially the market will trade here and go higher, right? All right, so let's go to daily. Go to the daily time frame, right? So I was also talking about the daily time frame breaking a major low, and I expect the market to come back and come down, right? This was what I had on the previous video. So if you want to understand what I talked about, just watch it. Just watch it. Watch it. Right. So now we had a nice week. Market did not really move so much. So I think price just moved from somewhere around here. I'm trying to get the date now. The 25th. That was, let's say, okay, let me look for a gap. Okay, from here, okay, 7 days. This was where I kind of give the analysis from. I think somewhere around there. So there's nothing in this, and you can see the markets just did not really give a significant move. This is daily time frame, right? Market just kept going higher, down, up, down, up, down. So this was more like a sideways movement, right? There was no definite direction, and I think this was the reason why market was coming down, right? Was to feel this inefficiency, right? So look at this inefficiency here, which has been properly filled. So this is, I think, is why price traded lower, right? So this was a daily inefficiency. Price came to feel inefficiency, and now I'm seeing a sign of bullish trend, right? I've seen this engulfing candle. I don't trade engulfing candles, but retail traders trade that, and the profit of it, right? So that's where we are. So, folks, let's look at the 4-hour time frame. So we're expecting that upward run and then a sell to the downside, right? So we're the market will come into this region and then trade lower, right? And we have filled that daily imbalance, so that is no more an area of concern. So I look at the structure on the 4-hour. So looking at the current structure on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the market has given a market structure shift, right? So I've cleared this high, right? So I've cleared this high. It's a significant high, right? Why is it significant? Because it could take price to make a new lower. So right, we have a change of character, and the market has come to retest. So if you bring out our Fibonacci to right? So Fibonacci 2, we kind of came into 71.86, good retracement level for a buy, and we are heading higher, right? So this is a good buy setup. Market is heading higher and higher and higher and all of that, right? So for the DXY, I still expect that bullish run before it's right. So we have an imbalance here, and price has cleared. We are giving us a BMS, right? So let's go to the 2-hour time frame to see. Okay, so based on the expect price, based on the imbalance I can find there, I expect price to trade here and then go higher to this point, right? So market should trade into this imbalance and then go higher, right? That's what I expect on this guy because there's nothing of interest below, right? Market has obviously taken out the equal lows, right? All right. Okay. So let's go to the smaller time frame to see what we can expect on 2 hour, right? 2 hour is still giving us the same bullish setup. We have something like a smart money cube here. So I'll be looking at this, right? So markets may likely come into this cube, right? So the dollar index is currently bullish. Sorry. Sorry. I'm having a cough and so UI. Right. So the market, trade into this imbalance and trade higher, right? So we are now having more confluences for that buy, right? So I made this only visible in the 2 hour time frame, right? So it's only visible on the 2 hour. Just take it off the days. I will see them in 2 hour, right? So whatever. Right. So when I set on the dollar index, so my buyer still remains the same. The buy selling to this point since I have broken structure, the market should come into this imbalance and then go for our POI, right? Our bigger time frame point of interest, right? Okay. So let's look at the dollar index. Sorry, the Euro USD. So I told you that whenever you're trading the dollar index, we use the reverse is always the case for USD, right? So since we're expecting a bullish run on the dollar index, so we should expect a bearish run on the EU pairs, right? So I still hold my bias that price is going to come here. If you don't understand why I say this, please watch the previous video from last week. I just said price to come down to this point and then give us a buy, right? I'm just looking at these imbalances to be filled and all of that. So these are smart money concepts which you may not understand without actually enrolling for a deep teaching on that. So I have a deep lecture on that, a deep detailed lecture where I talk about all these things from scratch onto a level where you can make consistent profit, right? So do also, if you want to join it, just join with the link in the description. We're now available on PayPal for those of you that are not in Nigeria. So wherever, do whatever you feel like. See you in class. All right. All right. So I was kind of doing something. All right. So I still expect that to run down to the downside and then we go higher, right? So let us see how we can capture that sell to the downside, right? So let us see the structure on the maybe 2 hour time frame. So right. So looking at uh, the 2 hour time frame, we had uh, we had a kind of right. So we had a buy side liquidity at this point, which was captured, so we cannot annotate that. We put a BSL, so we had the BSL at that point, right? So it was captured and price is now running for this. I don't know what's called this trend line. I think whatever should be a kind of trend line, something of that sort. Looks like a trend line. So I'm expecting a bear. I'm expecting the market to know, since we're expecting a bullish dollar, and still expecting a bullish dollar, and still expecting a bullish dollar. So we're expecting a bearish Euro USD, right? So looking at this, price, came to this imbalance, this fair value gap. That's where price played off. Right, so price played off that imbalance. So looking for how to capture to join this, right? So for me, let's see. Right, so try to get the template PY. Right, right, right. So price traded of the imbalance, broke lower. So on the 1 hour, I'm expecting price to, still really lower, right? I'm seeing a kind of other block around there, right? So there are two things that price may do based on what I can see. I expect price to maybe come to feel to mitigate this other block, right, which broke this low. So this low was broken, right? So we had a kind of break here. That is PY. Right, so there was kind of break of structure here, and if you believe me, there was a kind of a buy side liquidity at this point at the equal highs at this region as well. So price to grab it. So I'm expecting price to react off this point, right? So I'm expecting price to come here and then give me the evidence of the distribution and I take price low, right? So where would I be targeting? I'm targeting this trend line, right? I can see a trend line for me here. So I'm targeting this trend line, and overall, my system market to do was trade all the way to our POI, all the way down. So, that's what I have on Euro USD. Let's look at sorry, I'm having a cough. All right, so this is the GBP USD. So I think I'll not talk about everything. I'll just talk about indices and then we close, right? So the same thing on GGP USD. So let's go back to 4 hour. Here's the forecasts. Amazing. So the same thing, price capture liquidity, and has given us a clear break of structure to the downside, right? So we have a clear break of structure to the downside. So we're having a bearish British pound. So we should also do where this. So we have a lot of lows to be captured, right? So look at this low and all this low that the dumb traders, the emotionally inept, and the dumb smart money traders would be trying to buy off, right? So, this nice liquidity now. So the market will still trade lower because the dollar is currently bullish, right? So where do I expect price to react off? Remember, this is not a financial advice. I'm not responsible for your losses or wins. So if you feel like blowing your account, feel free. But I advise you, this is just for educative purposes, right? This is my opinion and all of that. All right, so we're seeing a break, right? A BMS at this point here, I don't know. So we may likely also do the same thing, We might come for this imbalance to fill this imbalance, or we might come for this particular buy candle, right? This last buy candle that will serve as our order block, right? So I'm targeting from order block down to this the field of this imbalance. Markets should likely come for this point and then we trade lower, right? So I'm just annotate that. So first put on the right. So let's head over to the indices, right? Right. Indices have been crazy. Right. So let me also review why indices kind of, did what it did this week, right? So I have my NASDAQ on this chart, right? So this is a review and forecast, right? So I'm looking at my NASDAQ. And look at the Nasdaq, there was a divergence. That was why price is trading lower, right? So what do I mean by divergence? So look at the indices. So look at okay, okay. Try to get a 4-hour. All right, so uh, wow, it's amazing. So look at the 4-hour. We just remove all this. You can see clearly. All right, so I just want to remove all this lipstick so you can see clearly. So to get more base, please just join my Telegram community. That's why I post regularly, right? I post regularly by Telegram community, right? So we can look at the dollar index. I mean the Dow Jones and the correlating asset, which is the Nasdaq, right? So looking at the 4-hour time frame, all right. So you can see that on the 4 hours, is it 4 hour daily? So I think it's a daily time frame, not 4 hour. So let's go to the daily. So this is why we had a expecting kind of bearish run. So okay, this is daily. I'm trying to do some correlation on this, right? So look at the daily time frame. You can see that Nasdaq had a high made, and if you look at the Dow Jones, we have that Dow Jones did what? Did not make a high, so they're currently diverging, right? So we're having a divergence here, right? That means Nasdaq is probably lower, right? It's weaker, so we should expect a sell on Nasdaq, right? So we are seeing the US 30 trading lower, and then Nasdaq, trading higher. So the Nasdaq is a weaker pair, so most likely smart money is trying to take price lower. All right, so that is why we had that bullish. I think with the NFP, we had a mad bearish run on both of them, right? So this is why this was part of the reason why we had that sudden drop, right? So I was looking at this. So price came, right? So price came into this order block when the news started. Price just came for this other block, right? Sorry, that's not it. So when the news started, right? Try to get that set up. I think some 30 minutes. That was where I saw that. That was why I dropped with the news, right? So okay, yeah, this was it. So when the news just dropped, price just came. This was the last. Look at carefully. This zoom in so you can see clearly. This was our last buy candle. I told you it's the last buy candle before the BMS, right? So after this buy candle was printed, we have this we had this break of structure right here, right? So there was a break, right, of this really all these lows here, right? That was let's go to 15 minutes. It's clear out 15 minutes. I think it was clear out 15 minutes. All right. So after the yes, that is it. So after we had this, market broke lower, like it broke all these lows, right? All these equal lows, whatever. So that was a kind of order block. All right. So markets, we can't really tell what news was going to do, right? So I saw price buying, and price just came, tapped the other block, and which was in line with the bearish divergence, and then it traded lower, right? And looking at this, there was no imbalance higher than this that could take price higher, right? So this was why market dropped. And where did it drop to? It dropped to do what? To take out of liquidity, right? So liquidity capture there. That's what the market went for, this liquidity, right? So consider market just came for this liquidity. That's all market just came. I don't know why the news came. The news just came. This 1 hour candle, This was about 32813. It's about 300 and something points, right? And that was amazing. So that was why it dropped right down to that point. There was liquidity all the way down here. All this lows liquidity. So that the news was an excuse to take price lower. All right. So folks, let's look at the structure of the markets, right? So we're having a divergence on Nasdaq and EU, but regardless, I gave a weekly analogy on the US 30, right? I gave a weekly analogy on the US 30, and I said that I was expecting a bullish run because market has taken obviously this low. But now look at the daily time frame, look at the weekly time frame as well. Although we are taking the low to the downside, right? We're taking these lows. This remains our last lower high, right? So let me remove that so we see clearly. So this was our last lower high. Remember, market, don't forget market structure. So we had our lower high, our lower low. So the market is still bearish, right? So this buy is confirmed if the market is able to do is take out this high. So we now have a complete bullish structure, right? On the weekly time frames. For now, the weekly is still bearish, although we have cleared liquidity, right? So we could actually trade to this lower point here. We actually trade here. So still possible we can trade to this lower point here. Right? Since the market has been bullish for quite some time, right? So the Nasdaq doesn't look good for buys. The divergence and all of that doesn't look good for buys, right? So let's look at the 4-hour time frame. So we are still expecting, we are still having a bearish structure, right? Although we are expecting a bullish one, right? But we don't trade on expectations. We trade what we can see, right? So see, I'm still looking at this, let's go to the 2-hour time frame, right? So I can see the market is also bearish currently on the 2-hour time frame. So we have our higher high here, our higher low. So we use my arrow to point so you can see what I'm referring to, right? So we have our higher high, our higher low, our higher high, and then a break of structure, right? So all this is just internal liquidity building up, right? So I said the market to do a trade lower. So we're having a bearish structure currently on the weekly time frame, on the 2-hour, which is aligning with the weekly, right? So let us see what the market is going to do. So we have gotten a kind of supply zone at that point here, and market has still come back for that supply zone, right? Market data took out all these lows, right? So this is now becomes our point of interest, which makes a good imbalance. So we have tapped into that other block. So now, what do we wait for? We're waiting for an evidence of the distribution. So the market can do what? Can clear this low. The market can clear this low, right? So we can come for a retest and take price lower, right? Market should come, right? Some money pattern, sorry. So if price can take out this low, can take price lower, right? Keep taking price lower. So I'm expecting a bearish Dow Jones, right? Oh wow. Let me see the 5 minutes time frame to see if I can catch this entry before it happens. Okay, nothing. Okay, nothing yet. Nothing yet. Right. So we'll see what the market does. I expect a bearish one on the US 30. So let's just look at the Nasdaq. We're expecting the same thing on Nasdaq. So just go straight to 4-hour. Right. Right. So wow. I also have a BMS on 4-hour. What do I mean by BMS? Right. We have our higher high, higher low, break or so. So market has obviously done what? Broken the buy structure here. So we have that BMS, right? So this is aligning with sell. So can go to about 2 hours to see if we can spot an entry, right? Forex. So we had this point. This was the other block before the BUS, right? Market has even traded back into it, right? So market kind of traded back into it and then went lower, right? So we have a bearish structure on the Nasdaq. Right, so we're looking at for opportunities to sell on this market, right? So I cannot really see a clear setup on it right now. The only thing I can see a clear sell is on the Dow Jones, right? So that's what the market does. That's what the market does, right? The market is able to give us wow. Okay, I can see something. Right. Let's see, folks. Let's see. So let's see the market, what's the market on the bottom. I'm setting itself, but now I don't have the specific area of entry. Right. So the market should trade lower and then we go lower, right? So this will be the end of this video. I will not talk about USD card and GJ. No, I want to talk about everything. If you want to get more on that, just join my YouTube, my Telegram community, right? So if you want to join my mentorship program, it's still ongoing. It goes for $58. We are accepting students from wherever you are in the world. We have Paystack. We are partnering with Paystack to accept payment from wherever you are. We have a detailed system where we can teach from scratch. No more struggling. Most of the reason why foreign traders are struggling is because of the inadequate foundations they had as a trader, right? So that will be all for now. And as ICT will say, until next time, be safe.